He's currently the vice mayor for the city of Fort Lauderdale, but he hopes to make it to Washington. I had the chance to go one-on-one with Ben Sorensen. Here's what he told me about why he's running and his priorities if he's elected to Congress. Vice Mayor, thank you so much for joining us here on NBC6 Impact.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Honored to be here.
So you're a successful businessman. You're a Navy Reserve. You have been a city commissioner and now vice mayor. Why do you want to run for Congressional District 23?
Yeah, well, appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I'd say because it's in my bones. I grew up in a family of activists. My dad, after school, moved to Atlanta and worked for Martin Luther King's organization that was helping organize freedom riders through the segregated South. And then he became epidemiologist and director of the largest HIV/AIDS institute in the world. And my mom was a dietitian and nutritionist for AIDS and cancer patients growing up in the 80s when there was this massive stigma around HIV and AIDS. And so I would literally go into the hospital with them and see and hear them fight for those who had less than others. And that just stuck with me. And that's the kind of household I grew up in and has kind of led me to public service. This
is a big step because you've been in city politics, obviously, and now you're looking for a federal seat. How do you think that that will work with your experience so far?
Yeah, I think in the race, I'm really the only one who has really substantive federal experience. I am in the Navy Reserve, so I've worked in the federal government now going on 15 years. I've worked for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon for years, and so I have an understanding not only from a military level, but also from a municipal level, working with the FAA and other government organizations to get things done in the city of Fort Lauderdale.
We are in a divided country. If you were to win this seat, could you cross the party lines and work with the other side?
Yeah, so I think the federal legislation around gun control is an example that it's possible. And I think we as Democrats have to stick with our values, stick with our core beliefs, and invite others to join us. And you can do that in a very engaged, bipartisan way and accomplish great things.
You said the party has been able to do that with this bill that was signed into law, but could you personally do that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a big tent kind of person, so I just believe the more we get together, the more we're able to accomplish. And I think we can do that without sacrificing core values that we have as Democrats.
You mentioned the significant law that was signed by President Biden on gun restrictions. Do you think that's enough? Do you think that more needs to be done?
Absolutely more needs to be done. And having been in the military now for 14, 15 years, I'm very familiar and trained on weapons of war, like assault rifles. Those do not belong in our communities, on our streets. We need to renew the assault weapons ban. I'm going to fight for that in Congress. We need to eliminate mass capacity magazines. And we need to have national background checks.
Do you think that that's doable?
Absolutely, it's doable. And we need dedicated, passionate public servants that can work diligently to accomplish that.
The Supreme Court just overturned Roe v. Wade. And as you know, there have been protests around the country, including here in South Florida. What do you think Congress can and should do, if anything?
Yeah, it's an atrocity. The attack on women's rights, not only at the federal level, but also we see at the state level. With Ron DeSantis, his unabashed attack not only on women, but minorities, LGBTQ community. So we need to stand up at the federal level in Congress. We need to codify Roe v. Wade. And we need someone in Congress who's not beholden to Ron DeSantis, who's going to fight against this super MAGA agenda and stand up for our core principles of justice, fairness, and equality.
Do you think that's opening up a Pandora's box to codify?
No, I don't. I think we need to be aggressive. We need to fight as Democrats. We need to fight harder, stronger, and with deeper convictions than we have in the past.
In terms of the environment, I know you have been a strong advocate for the environment in your tenure as city commissioner and also as vice mayor. On a federal level, what do you think needs to be done?
So doing what we've done in the city of Fort Lauderdale, but on a grander scale. So we've been very excited about innovative solutions to our environment, raising seawalls, tidal valves, but also innovative technologies like protein skimming, partnering with water keepers to identify where are sources of pollution and how to mitigate those. Also, we need to do more in protecting. We just saw what happened with the Supreme Court and the EPA ruling. So it's now more incumbent than ever on Congress to write laws, to push laws that protect our environment.
Of course, that has also been one of the reasons that gas prices have skyrocketed in the past months and years. So what do you think can be done to alleviate some of that right now? Because Americans are hurting.
Yeah, we need to focus more on renewable energy. So right now in the state of Florida, we're really hamstrung in many ways on supporting and developing more renewable energy like solar, like wind. So we need federal support and federal legislation that not only encourages it, but provides an incentive to do that.
You have said that you want a net zero carbon footprint by 2040. That's a very tall order.
Yeah, it is a tall order. And, you know, let's dream big dreams as Democrats. Let's aim for the sky, because if we're passionate and we're working together, we can accomplish anything.
Okay, something international, and you mentioned it about NATO, that you agree and support a strong NATO.
Absolutely. Yeah. In my work at the Pentagon and my continued work at in the Navy, alliances are key. Alliances with NATO, but also alliances with our key allies like Israel and others. This is what is a force multiplier, as we say in the Navy, to help protect us and keep us safe.
What do you think differentiates you, or similarities that you have, with the current congressman that will be leaving his post, Ted Deutsch?
Yeah, so Congressman Deutsch has been an amazing advocate for South Florida. He has been so passionate, so convicted, and so accessible. He is such a genuinely good person who fights so hard. And I just look forward to carrying forward his legacy and to bringing my own skill set. I think especially my military background is going to be helpful for understanding some of the national security issues we have. And also, my ability of working in a municipality with the federal government, I think is a pretty significant strength.
All in all, if you continue on this campaign, and you have several opponents right now for the primary, what would you tell the residents of District 23 why they should vote for you?
Yeah, I'd say you want someone who's a fighter, who has a track record not only fighting for equality and justice and for getting things done, but also someone who is going to be core through and through to my democratic principles. I've never worked for Ron DeSantis. I've never worked for a Republican governor. I am not going to be dissuaded by my core values as a Democrat to lead our community forward.
I think we're going to have to leave it there. Well, Vice Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck to you.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.